All right, welcome back to week 2 of our spring split. After a few exciting matches from our Gold League competitors, we have switched over to our Silver League, who we'll be covering for a few matches as well, before we finally end off with our Plat League competitors. So, taking a look here, we have Misk, Tibby Fibby, and Henny Boy as our as a trio over here at Hazy Hillside, starting off their match. But we'll take a look at the whole map here and get a big overview of exactly what's going on with the competitors today, where they're deciding to land it, exactly how the map is spread out, and we'll see if zone has as much of a factor, or plays as much of a factor in this match as it has in the previous. A lot of times when players play in these matches, they build a mental clock of how much time they have to loot or how much time they have between zones, and when a slight difference is made in those timings, it can really mess up how a team plays, and especially if you don't realize that it is less of a time. And I still am a little unsure myself exactly if there is different timing today, or if teams are just getting caught behind. But with so many of it happening and so many teams getting caught out in back-to-back matches of our Gold League, I would expect there's something is up with the Storms and how they're moving today. So we'll see exactly how this plays out and what teams are able to adapt to these changes and better themselves as a result. But we move over to E-Money, who was on 1 HP. And his teammates Goldie Pop and Pizza Master. They got to be careful here. There's another team nearby. E-Money can't afford to take 1 damage. And his teammates are going to start to work in. Pizza Master, I think, is the one to take the fight, but now rotating off to his teammates and could get caught out here if he's not careful. And there, Goldie Pop goes down. Pizza Master very low on HP. E-Money on literally 1 HP, just hiding in a wood cone. And for now, he is safe, but at what cost? Clemson Dude, Joe Mama, and WV Hill are the players to do it, but now being pressured by a separate squad. They have to be careful themselves. And another team nearby, Armored, he's going to work his way in here. And he's going to find this damage and a few eliminations here if he can find the remaining members of this team. And yeah, just hopping in the trash can there is one of them, and back out. An Armored Catnip, Void Monkey, and Puzzled will take control of this location. And maybe find out this remaining player, Puzzled, is around this. Actually, I think Void Monkey was able to find out that final player of the previous squad. Yeah, E-Money drops, and as a result, his 2 teammates are brought with him. So unfortunate for these couple squads here at the start towards this northern part of the map, but team's still looting up. Shoddy Bugatti, see his health skyrocketing there in the chat. See how that affects it, but overall, only 33 players left remaining in this match, so not too many fights going on at this point, just a lot of teams looting up. And we'll take a look at some of these teams holding the outskirts positions here. Connor Pirate, Little Draugr. These 2 players that are towards the outskirts of the map here, maybe just adjusting the inventory here is Connor. We pan over to his teammate who is looting up some of these locations here on the outskirts. A bright red skin. That's an interesting combo. A lot of times players are trying to run darker skins in these matches, skins that blend into the environment a little bit better, even maybe running a white skin when you're playing in the zone environment, but red, vibrant. So you can tell that Draugr, he doesn't care to be spotted. He's ready for a fight and willing to take you down with him. But as a solo, it seems like Connor Pirate might... Oh, no. I think Connor Pirate's back now at this point. But Maybe just some adjustments being made to the inventory. Some settings being changed to get him ready for the end game here. As zone begins to close in. But this team has to be careful. One of the things we saw in the previous match is teams getting caught out in zone. It seems like that might be the case already for this squad. And another team here towards the edge of zone who's taken a lot of damage is Tron, Fortnite UG, and Raid. These three players towards the outskirts. They're going to be able to rotate in with a car here. And although the timing in general doesn't seem too off this match, maybe a little bit different. I don't know for sure, but we see some of these teams getting caught off a little bit off guard here. But overall, we take a look back at the map here. Take a look at some of our centralized teams here. Shadi Bugatti, Zebu Beck, and Jippy. All skirting around the map here. We'll see exactly what they can do in these fights. They'll start to rotate out here, making a lot of noise with that Lambo and maybe running up on a team here. Yeah, they'll find a team, but this team doesn't have very much health, and they got to be careful here. Shadi Bugatti does a lot of damage with that first shot, but it's traded back pretty nicely. A snipe shot not going to be landed here. Turret being thrown out. Damage with the shotgun, broken down on white HP, finds a kill on another, and another Mr. Puppy goes down, and another squad looks to be making their way in here. And taking these fights, Johnny Bugatti goes down, his teammate Zebu is also taken out, and Jippy seems like the only player remaining for this squad. The snipe shot just not going to land there. SMG's shots coming out, but not going to do anything either. And Jippy has no rotates to get out of the situation. He's stuck here, has to box up, has to create some space between this himself and this team, but he's not going to be able to do so. And Jippy will fall. Tron, Yuji, and Raid will be the one to pick up that third party, to pick up those eliminations, and to move themselves further in this match. Just looting up the remaining, or just finding the remaining loot there on the ground from these eliminated players. And again, only 27 players remaining in this match, so not a lot of players to take a look at here. But we'll look at Obsidian, the First Prince, and Zanny Zuhan. See exactly what this team can do here. 0 eliminations to their name right now. We'll see if they can increase those numbers towards the end of this match. Seems like they're going to be running up on another team here if they continue this direction. We'll see what happens then. And Obsidian, the First Prince, and Zanny Zuhan are starting to move closer and closer to this team. Oh, actually, and I think they're starting to make their way away from them now. So no longer going to run into them at this point. We'll take a look back at the map here, see exactly where our teams are lining up at, and see if we can find any potential fights going down. Connor Pirate and Little Draugr maybe running into one of their own right here. Little Draugr brought low, but able to find the elimination onto one. And like we said before, he's in a bright skin. He knows he's going to be spotted out, and he knows he can take these fights. So Crinkle goes down. Vorez, one of those remaining players, and it seems like a third squad is going to be showing up in this fight. Little Draugr has to back up here. Has to regroup with his teammate. and actually deciding to make his way out of this location. No longer wants to take any of these fights, and his teammate still sticking around a little bit. Needs to be careful here, getting a little bit separated is this team. And yeah, you'll see eventually Connor Pirate tucking tail and starting to run away as well. And Vorez, not very high HP. His two teammates were eliminated. And now again, trying to make his way away from this fight as well. And he has that grapple to do so. He can put some space in between himself and these teams and maybe survive enough or long enough to bring his teammates back in this match. So maybe just looking for that reboot van at this point. Or at least some shields to play with. But again and again, so many of these teams beginning to fight. Cryptic goes down. Bobby Pie follows quickly. Henny Boy, Tibby Fibby find those eliminations and give their teams the advantage in these fights. Another team looking like they're going to get into a fight here soon as Puzzled, Armored, and Void Monkey. We're rolling up on another squad, and they'll find the elimination mid-air. The last Prince goes down. And Void Monkey, he's looking to punish these other players that remain for these squads. Damage being thrown out, and another one found. Zany goes down. And Void Monkey now looking for that third and final player, but sees another squad out in the distance, and oh my gosh, finds the beam. Void Monkey, he wants to get aggressive. Obsidian so low on HP, and a drive-by by Void Monkey, and 3 eliminations back to back to back. This player can't be stopped. He keeps going, he's pushing forward, and finding those eliminations so quickly in these fights, giving his team that an early on advantage. Another team looking for some fights here is V-Dub, Suka, and Official Fire. Official Fire trying to res, or gets res there. Henny Boy up on that mountain though. They have to be careful of these teams around them. Tibby Fibby taking some shots. Misk also taking a bit of damage here. Void, or V-Dubs, he's got to be careful. Suka brought low. Official Fire also brought low. These players have to pop those shields, put themselves in a better situation for these fights. It looks like they're going to start to box up, but Suka is brought down along with Official Fire. Now V-Dubs is the only player that remains for this squad. 89 HP, no shields to play with. And at this point, he's just got to pray that one of these players just walks into his box, that he can just take an easy fight. But it looks like Peace Control is going to be found. Misk just waiting for his teammates to group up on him. And he has an idea of where this remaining player is. His V-Dubs just crouches on this low ground. Maybe it's possible for him to get this res. It looks like this team has rotated out. It looks like they're not even pressuring them anymore. They decide to rotate off, allowing them to get the res. I'm not sure why they would do that. But it keeps them alive in this match. Maybe they don't want to over-aggress on that fight, and maybe they're waiting for a third party to happen. So just rotating off instead. Silky Skill, Susie Dragon, and Princess Rebear. Just parking their car here. Turning it off, you know. Just admiring the view, the nice river. They just will chill out over here. They have a space and zone. They don't want to fight anybody at this point. And they can all just relax in the back of these cars. With no real reason to take any fights at this point. We'll see a reboot come up, and we'll see who's going to be brought back here. Oh, it doesn't actually say. Thought we'd get a little bit of a notification as to who it was, but Guess we can go over and take a look. Maybe it was in this direction, but Twitch, 5X Nate FN, Rah Rah, and Dino Nuggies. Yeah, they saw that reboot go down, but it looks like they're going to be taking some shots on it as well. Just narrowly missing some of these shots, and they're going to survive for now, but Rocket's coming out. Oh, and there's the shot. There's the down. Official fire is knocked. And he goes down for the second time. V-Dubs and Suka, they tried to bring back their teammate, but they weren't able to in the end, as he's taken out for a second time. Now, looking around the map, this river to play around. Only 18 players remain in this match, but still quite a few for this zone. We'll see exactly what these teams are doing to benefit themselves in this match. Puzzled Void Monkey and Armored Catnip looking around, trying to spot some teams, and they spot out a car just rotating around the zone, and keep that in the back of their head to see if they see any parked cars later on. They'll begin to make their way in through this railroad tracks, picking up some loot along the way, but V-Dubs actually gets knocked. He knocks himself. It looks like they're taking yet another fight here. Suka is able to get out of dodge there, and I think he used a rift to do so. Pretty separate from his teammates, though. I think V-Dubs just fell off that island, and as a result, doesn't survive for any longer. We'll see Yuji, Tron, who was eliminated, and Raidman, Raid Lamau, trying his best to survive in this match. LMAO. Maybe some shots going out there. Armored Catnip takes a bit of damage there. A snipe shot going his direction. He's taking a lot of damage from Storm here. He's got to be careful about taking too much white health there. Shields, he has a lot of those, but do they have the white health to drop over to him? Seems like they're taking a vault at this point. Maybe a little bit more loot for them to find at this location. We see some fights going down in the chat, so we'll pan our way over to that. Ooh, it might have finished up actually before we even got a chance to look at it, but there is a team right above this other one. That's Yuji. That's Raid. Who've kind of made their bases right on top of each other. We'll see how this plays out. The train coming through, though, knocking down their builds. They have to be careful if they don't get knocked down and die from fall damage. Those bridges are very high up. And luckily, they're able to stay for now, but that train just being a little bit of a menace for them. They got to be a bit careful of stuff like that happening. But for now, they survive. I say for now because these teams are starting to aggress into each other. Tippy Fibby, Misk, and Henny Boy are beginning to group up in these locations, are beginning to look at each other as they rotate into zone. Juarez, he's taking some pressure, taking some damage, and he's got to be careful not to get eliminated here. Very low HP. His teammate, or one of those players rotating out there, Crinkle, there to support, but seeming very unlikely. Shots coming out, though, and damage dealt but it's not going to be enough for Vorez to stay alive. He's knocked, and Crinkle very low on HP as well, and can't do anything about it. So Raid takes out Suka Misk, takes out Crinkle, and Henny Boy takes out Vorez. And we'll see what these teams can do in the situation. Zone starting to move, Zone pressuring these players. And one of these teams that have already made their way in here is Rah, Dino Nuggies, and Nate FN. When we pan around to these different teams, we see they're each making their own little bases here. Yuji and Raid have to be careful, though. As they begin to pressure these teams, they got to be careful of players from above landing on top of them, and one of those players is going to go down. Yuji being taken out as a result of that. Raid able to find a little bit of damage. And a lot of bit of damage. Finds the elimination onto one. Now looking for the second. Finding that piece control from above. Looks for the shot, but can't find it any longer and is taken down. Another one of these squads that have boxed up, that needs to pop some of these heals, is Dino Nuggies, Nate, and Rah. They're going to start their way to zone. They're going to start rotating out here. They want to get ahead here. Zone has been such a big factor in these matches today, forcing these players to rotate sooner and sooner. And these teams will get front side. They will be able to box up. And if we look at zone closing in here, we see 3 squads that remain with 3 players each. An armored Catnip. He's got to be careful here. He's very low HP. He will get taken down. Void Monkey and Puzzled down. The only 2 players left remaining for that squad. In zone, closing in very quickly. Puzzled also taken out. Void Monkey now the only player left remaining for his own squad. And you'll see those shockwaves coming in handy. But Nate, Rah, and Dino Nuggies, they're going to be playing this high ground position here. Looking down on those players below them and trying to force them down onto low ground. They don't want them to be able to build up. They want to have this top-down angle. You have so many advantages to it. You don't have to shoot you don't have to use as many mats. And you can look down and just spray out the players below you relatively easily. Have that high ground advantage in general. You'll see Nate playing to that advantage. Taking shots on this wall, though. Void Monkey has to be careful here. Not getting pressured too much. And Rah will take out Tibby Fibby. So Tibby Fibby goes down. His squad's not eliminated, though. Henny Boy still in this Rah. Though, he's looking to take some aggression here. And he'll finally get that full elimination onto Tibby Fibby, but it's looking unlikely for Void Monkey. As he tunnels down below, he tries to stay beneath this team, but at this point, it's a 1v3, and it's so difficult for him to win this match. So difficult for him to stay in this. The damage will be done. The eliminations will be found. And Void Monkey will be eliminated. And Dino Nuggies, Rah, and Nate will take match 1 of our Silver League. So stay tuned for some more action. We have one more silver match in Alright, hello and welcome back to our second match of our Silver League. Let's see how this match plays out. 48 players was the amount we started with, down to 44 already. So some off-spawn fights starting off here. And we'll see how our competitors play. After the event today, there was an event that went on, if you aren't aware of it, for a short duration of time, where there's a hand that has come out of the ground covered in chains. And it looks to be holding some sort of building. And you have the ability to break it. So if you are one of the opponents in these matches, you can go over and actually smack that building and contribute to some of the damage done to it. I don't think it's affected the meta too much today. However, we have had a lot of players stuck in zone lately. However, I don't think there have been any changes made to that. It just must be a little bit of unlucky or coincidental events today. And as a result, some of these players have been getting eliminated more often by zone than we'd expect, especially in our Gold League competitors. A lot of those players were dying early on to zone and weren't rotating out as soon as they should be. But nevertheless, we'll take a look again here at the start of the match, as we always do, at the map here and show you guys what's going on here. And it looks like we have some fights to cover straight away. Hennyboy taking quite a bit of damage, and he is part of this scramble here, this chaos in the center of Hazy Hillside. It looks like Hennyboy and Tibby Fibby are looking very low on HP. And at this point, Hennyboy just maybe trying to survive inside this vault area. His teammate Misk has been taken down. See exactly what they can do in situations like these. Hennyboy and Tibby Fibby obviously at a disadvantage, but Tibby Fibby I think was able to find one elimination there. So pulling one back in this fight. You can hear all these footsteps around him as these players begin to surround him. And the damage is found. Tibby Fibby finds the elimination on to one. And finishes him off, downs him, and finishes that player off. Misk has been eliminated. Hennyboy has been eliminated, but Tibby Fibby, he remains. It looks to be a 1v1 situation for him and his squad. Seems to be up against a separate player on this enemy team. We'll see. We'll take a look at who it is exactly. I think it's Vorex. Yeah, Vorex being the only player remaining, looking around this location for Tibby Fibby, but I don't think he's going to be able to spot him out. He's got to be careful of another team. Oh, maybe baiting him out there. Oh, what a play from Vorez. I think he tried to bait him out, like acting like he ran out of the location with a shockwave, but he in fact did not. And Tibby Fibby, I think he's unaware of it. He will be taken out. So what a big brain play there for Vorez to throw that shockwave down, to be aware of those teams around him. But now he's got to survive himself again. He's got to get out of this tricky situation himself. As a solo, he can use those shockwaves alongside that mist. We'll see if he can be able to make it out of here. Yeah, shockwave gonna be popped. Gonna be able to make it a little bit further away. And another shockwave being used. He didn't use them in tandem with that heal, which would have given him a little bit more spacing between these teams, but he's got to be careful here. That rocket coming in, but it's not even going to be enough at that point. Insanity finds him with the assault rifle and brings an end to his plays. But Vorez, what a strategic play from him that was. And Insanity puts an end to Vorez. So Insanity, Gravitas, and Kids is trying their best to survive here. They found some early eliminations here, but now we'll take a look back at the map and we'll see exactly what other teams are up to. Around the map, we have I Love Cookies, Mr. Pup Puppy, and the Duke 04919. And we'll see exactly what this team can do. Just breaking into some of these buildings. Maybe farming up some S. Maybe not the most efficient method, but refarming is pretty popular in these matches. Refarming those buildings to replace those builds on the walls, but we'll see exactly what this team can do. I mean, I Love Cookies running 4 SMGs. Never can get enough of them, apparently. And we'll see exactly what they do in here. Again, this team refarming the house, an interesting strategy. Usually not the most effective method to gain mats in these matches, especially when you're looking for brick and wood, like most of these buildings are. Now, I can understand farming some buildings for some metal, as there's not very many metal materials around the map in general. But usually to gain wood and brick, you are trying to look for those natural resources, those trees, those rocks that spawn all across the map in order to better your materials overall, or your material count. One team looking to ram their way through all these different natural materials, though, is Void Monkey, Puzzled, and Armored Catnip. They had a decent game in the previous, and they just came up a little bit short. The Void Monkey was able, I think, to clutch up that second place, and he did a great job doing so. So we'll see if they can change the mistakes, or make up for the mistakes they did in the previous match, and come out victorious this time. Taking a look back around the map here. Actually, we'll just start to switch through the teams pretty... Actually, never mind. There's some fights going on. We got to cover the fights. So we'll take a look over... Maybe. I think the fights have wrapped up, actually. So we'll just switch around the map kind of randomly here. Cover all these different players. Give them a chance at the spotlight. And Cryptic Goat and Bob Eats Pie. We saw them for a brief moment in our previous match, as they were eliminated pretty quickly after. But they are going to be boxing up here in Ruined Reels, are on the outskirts of it, using one box for the both of them. I think we're getting some background noise, which is interesting. Huh. That is so interesting. Maybe he was dancing. I'm not actually sure. I thought we were having background noise come from something else, but that is interesting. Anyway, over on Insanity, with 2 eliminations to his name, he's got this rocket. This rocket has been added to the meta recently, in our recent weeks of play, and we've seen teams utilize it pretty often. It's great for breaking up those builds, great for giving you an entry to the fight, but overall, we don't see it being hit for a lot of damage. It's mainly just used to break down some of those builds that are in between yourself and your opponent, or at least to pressure you later in the match and force you to tunnel away from that rocket. But Insanity running it on the inventory of himself, but his teammates, Kids and Gravitas, are taken down already. So now, just alone, they have 6 eliminations for themselves already, but placement points are worth so much in these matches. It's just so important to survive for longer. As a result, we'll see Insanity just try and survive as much as he can for the remainder of this match. take a look at the top of Grand Glacier here. A team starting to rotate into zone is Void Monkey, Armored, Catnap, and Puzzled. A trio here on the outskirts of zone. Just trying to loot up this location maybe a little bit before they start their trek in here. These fences very, very good for some metal. We'll see as this team begins to rotate in. If they run into any teams, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of teams around this location, but we'll switch over here to Official Fire, who must have been taken out recently, was rebooted. Seems like they are making some sort of thing for us here. This is pretty interesting. Designing a little bit of a staircase maybe to the top of the mountain. And you know, why not? You have the time for it. There's not a lot of teams around this location, and we'll see exactly what they can do with this. Some future architects maybe in the making as they design some structures up here for us and take us to the top of this mountain as a result. Oh, they have a whole house up here. Put a launch pad right in the middle of it. There you go. Create a little roof and everything. Isn't that nice? Showing just how relaxed they are as a team in this match. They don't have to take it too seriously. They can create a little fort